This is a really neat miniature multi-tool. This is made by Aulumu, the GO5 Pro. This is a multi-function magnetic stand. Now on the back it talks about its one-hand toolkit, fidget toy, infinite hover. Now this was I think around $35 and it seems very expensive, but I have grown to really like this little tool. It has a knife blade, then a SIM card tool, which actually some of you have talked about how useful you find that, and then this saw. I don't think hardly anyone's going to find that useful except maybe to open some packages, but that is a very miniature saw. On this reverse or the opposite side, a tiny file and a screwdriver. The file is one-sided. Yeah, that's a really neat little package. Now you actually have to, I guess, close this first, and then you can close the file in on it. It almost reminds me like a Victorinox, their smaller tool. Yeah, it pretty much looks like a tiny Victorinox, and then it sits on this kickstand. Now, I did buy a case for my phone. I've got a cheap Samsung that I use, and this actually fits. This is MagSafe compatible, and then the magnet clips onto the back of the case. I really like how you can easily use it. The kickstand, I did have a case where the kickstand came out. It was built into the case and it broke, where this one is actually surprisingly strong. So this does stay pretty tightly attached to the back of the phone case. And then you can rotate this and it feels better quality. So while $35 is pretty expensive, I do feel like you're getting a little bit better quality from this tool than you would expect from other tools. Now I've just used it at its kickstand capacity. I really don't use the knife on here. I do think that would be useful for opening packages. For those that aren't really into multi-tools or carrying it around, I can see how that would be very useful. Pretty neat little tool. I think this is probably the best I've seen for a cell phone to date. So definitely recommend this as probably the #1 cell phone multi-tool. Now, one of the oddest multi-tools and one of the most useful multi-tools that I have been wearing for the longest is actually this Leatherman Tread knockoff. So I have several of these bracelet type multi-tools that I use as a watch band. I find them pretty neat to have just as backup screwdrivers. I have used them occasionally, but oftentimes I forget when I need a screwdriver that I'm even wearing this. And then I realized later I was actually wearing a screwdriver. I didn't need to go get one. That's the only downside that I see, and these are a little bit heavy. Now I did have to take off several links to make this fit, so it's not as heavy as it would originally be, but I still do have, let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess about 5 of the individual tools, and then the clasp. Now in this tool there are a bunch of different tools. It's hard to probably cover all these. Phillips on this one, and then there is this driver, 2 flat screwdrivers, glass breaker, the cutter, and then like a SIM card tool. This is a bottle opener because you have to have that even on a watch multi-tool. And this right on the end is a 1/4-inch socket adapter. There is this hex style bits on this one and some more wrenches. Yeah, a lot of really cool tools on a watch band. You can sort of pick and choose which ones you want because it comes with a bunch, especially when you use it for a watch. Then there are adapters that you can buy. Now this one isn't exactly the right size, but I just sort of had bought this watch of AliExpress. This is the SKMEI, I believe it is. Pretty much it sounds like it should be pronounced scammy, but that might be maybe a good name for it. It is a very cheap watch, around $20. I didn't really like it on any band except this one. The band it came with was falling apart in about a day. This watch isn't too bad. I use it for work around boilers and HVAC, so if it gets scratched up, it's not that big a deal. But overall, I really do like the Leatherman Tread style band. There are several different colors. There's silver, black, and I have seen it gold. I would love to see almost like a brushed titanium. I think that would be neat. and even some other different colors. If they would do that in the future, I think that would be really neat. I have usually seen only this diameter, but I do believe on Amazon there may be some smaller diameter Leatherman Tread knockoff bracelets, bands. That is something some might prefer rather than this larger tool. On the inside, you can, if you work it just right, put Leatherman bits in here. They are bit holders, which is pretty neat. On AliExpress, I saw this Revolver style screwdriver, and I thought I would go ahead and check it out. It is a little bit too pricey at $25. It looked sort of like it was titanium. When I got it, it had almost this like blue look, and the screwdriver bits that come with it, the 1/4 inch ones, are actually not that great. They look very, very cheap. I think it's probably more like an aluminum frame. It is sort of neat, I guess fidget friendly, how it has this bolt style 1/4 inch driver. And then if you line this on the end just right, you can use the 1/4 inch bit, put it in there. There is a magnet that holds it in place. Then you can use it as a screwdriver. On the end, it looks like a lanyard attachment. I'm not sure you would, really want to carry a screwdriver around your neck, but in case you feel the need to do that, you can. There are several different bits that come with it, several hex style bits, Torx, a Phillips screwdriver, flat screwdriver. That's pretty much it. Now, if you don't have this exactly on the opening, the bits are all kept in place. They do sort of have that, clanking feel. They're pretty loose in there. If that bothers you, this tool is not for you. This tool is not that heavy. Let's see. When I put it on here, it weighs around 2.9 ounces or grams, 81 grams. It's a fairly lightweight tool. $25, I still think that's a little expensive, but it is fascinating. Sort of cool. Now, this is a lot more than a hat. This is the Wazoo treasure hat. Not really treasure hat, but a hat that you can put stuff in. It's got several different pockets, and I've already worn this a couple times, where you could put like a small Victorinox. So in these inner pockets, you could hide cash or a key, or perhaps have a very miniature first aid kit, band-aids, so forth. As far as multi-tools, maybe some of the one-piece tools from Leatherman or Gerber could fit inside some of these pockets, and even Nextool has some of those. Or you could potentially store an extra implement from Roxxon's Flex system inside the hat to have as extra. Obviously, you don't want a razor blade stored in there, falling and cutting yourself without a cover on it. Obviously, use common sense, but something like that might be very useful to some people. I don't know if I'll actually use these extra pockets, but I've been wanting to try this out for a while, so I have enjoyed using just the hat, and I probably will try to use some of the pockets, and in a future video, maybe I'll tell you what I finally arrive at. I'm thinking, now that I mention it, that some of those Roxxon implements would be really nice as extra tools to carry even in this hat. Now, Wazoo makes a lot of really cool stuff. So they make dog tag tools, very miniature tools. A lot of their things are not extremely cheap, but they are made fairly well. This right here, I think, was around $40 by the time I bought it. So there are many tools that I actually have not kept up with all their new releases, but make sure to check out their website. They are fairly approachable. I've called their customer service before, and they were even willing to make things for me to put on the sides of a multi-tool. So I feel like they are a lot more approachable, and they are a company that actually you can talk to a human, which is really, really nice. So let me know what you think about these tools. What are some of the tools similar to these that you carry every day? And I always enjoy reading your comments.